A child psychiatrist interviews a girl called Sue Rin at the beginning of the film. Sue Rin becomes clearly anxious when the doctor arranges a camera to capture the interview. She wants her to start her story from the beginning. Sue Rin begins by stating that several years ago, her mother married Do Kyun. Her mother died not long after the marriage. Since then, Sue Rin has been living with Do Kyun. He is assigned to a building project on a remote island called Wano. Hence, the two had to relocate to the island. Sue Rin never really has been happy after the death of her mother. She is not friendly to her stepfather and hardly talks. She likes to live alone even though she is enrolled in a new school on the island and has the chance to make numerous friends. Her stepfather is a chief of a tunnel building site. Thus, he has to work nights. The people living on the island are not allowed to enter the building area due to the explosions occurring during the construction. Sue Rin reads comments on her blog about a wormhole as she looks through her phone one evening. Sue Rin wanted to flee the planet when her mother passed away, and while looking for means of escape, she became fascinated in wormholes, paranormal entities, and so on. She even discusses such subjects on the school computer and with others online. Her peers can read her comments and ridicule her when she leaves her computer unlocked by mistake. Sue Rin runs across a youngster named Sung Min living in an orphanage on her way home. When Sung Min introduces himself and tries to befriend Sue Rin, she dismisses him. Sue Rin runs across Sung Min and his pals discussing her blog on the wormhole over lunch the next day. After reading it, Sung Min claims to have entered still another dimension. That day, Sung Min tracks her as she makes her way home. When confronted out, he claims he believes what she has said on the blog. The two become friends out of a common passion in paranormal events. To talk with Sung Min in secret, Sue Rin has created her own alphabet. They start keeping daily notes in Sue Rin's diary for each other. They hunt ghosts all throughout town every day following school. On one of such trips, Sung Min invites Sue Rin to a woodland abandoned wooden house. While carving on wax blocks, they tour the house and chat for a long period. Sue Rin has fallen in love with Sung Min now. She shocks him by kissing him out of the blue. Sue Rin discovers 3 of his pals and Sung Min arranging to visit the building site to view the explosions one day. She follows them as the children negotiate the forest to hide from the grown-ups. One of the youngsters chickens out returns home when they cross the fence to the place. That child will most likely attend university sometime. The other 4 hide behind a cliff waiting, but are let down when no explosions occur. They stumble into a little cave whilst strolling throughout the woodland. They choose to investigate it, and one after another they enter. At the end of the cave, they eventually stumble upon a brilliant shining material sunk in water. Sue Rin figures it as a meteoroid. Sung Min decides to delve into the sea and extract the element on his own. The item quiesces on being pulled out of the tunnel. The youngsters find it to look like an egg. According to one of the guys called Tai Shik, the egg might have belonged to a time goblin. I want some whatever Tai Shik is on. His grandfather had once informed him that a cave where the time goblin resides opens up in the mountains on full moon evenings. Anybody entering the cave will emerge out as an elderly man. Since they did not age, the other children reject his claims. Sue Rin finds her gift from her mother, her hairpin, vanished. The guys guard the egg as she returns into the cave searching for it. She discovers her pin and also notes the glowing egg is back in the sea. She comes out confused to see the egg has cracked and all of her buddies are absent. She searches the wilderness for them till it dark. She must spend the night since she finally gets lost in the forest. The next day, a police squad searches the wilderness for the children. Head of the investigation is Detective On. Soon the cops discover Sue Rin comatose in the forest. She is fortunately living and healthy. The investigator asks her what happened to the other guys in the hospital, and she relates all about the cave and the shining egg. Her narrative is not believed by the grown-ups nor the detective. She even brings them to the forest to demonstrate the cave, but she cannot locate it. It almost seems to have vanished following the full moon night. Then the investigator is told that Jae Wook, one of the missing lads, has been discovered buried on a beach 20 kilometers from the town. It turns out that Time Goblin, more precisely an asthma attack, was the reason he died. The case becomes kidnapping since someone had to bury him below earth instead of missing person. After the incident, weeks pass but the other 2 lads are nowhere to be seen. Soo Rin returns to her quiet, introverted personality without Sung Min. She also is as perplexed as anyone, yet nobody accepts her truth-telling. She hears something outside her house one day. Checking finds a man sprinting towards the forest. She trails him into the heart of the forest. She collapses to the ground a few minutes of jogging, and the male stops too. He approaches her and stares fascinatedly at her, while Soo Rin freezes in disbelief. Speaking for the first time, the man states he is Sung Min. Soo Rin snaps out of her stunned state and flees away crying when she hears his name. She tells Do Kyun about the man quickly when she finds herself in front of his car. Assumed to be the kidnapper, the police are notified about the occurrence and begin looking for the man in the woods. When Detective On probes Soo Rin about the man, she finds he was posing as Sung Min. Although the kidnapper is nowhere to be found, the cops come upon Soo Rin's diary she and Sung Min utilize, leaving notes for one another. She is shocked when she sees the pages since Sung Min's notes abound there. He has reported on all that happened following her underground expedition to retrieve her hairpin using their code language. Sung Min breaks the egg on the ground without waiting for Soo Rin since the boys start to wonder about what is within. Their expectations are let down to find it to be empty. Sung Min enters the cave when Soo Rin doesn't show up for a little and discovers she is frozen in her position. She doesn't answer when he tries to relocate her and strike a conversation. Moments later, he sees a drop of water hovering mid-air. Emerging from the cave, he glances skyward to discover the birds had likewise frozen in the air. The lads visit the town and discover everyone, including their families, has stopped. This helps them to understand that, except the three of them, time has stopped for everyone, and so they are free to do anything they like. For the first several days, they are living in paradise. They eat and drink whatever they want, sleep whenever they want to, and play around all day. They grow bored after a month or two and choose to leave the island and travel to another city in search of whether they are indeed the only ones on Earth able to move. Their scheme is dashed, though, when they discover the boat would sink as the water in the ocean has also stopped flowing. Returning in the present, Soo Rin notes that Sung Min was the man approaching her in the forest. She breaks off reading since her first concern is getting the cops away from him. She says she lied about seeing anyone in the jungle, as they will definitely arrest him for being the kidnapper should they locate him. The cops believe her, and she keeps reading the notebook. Many months later, the men begin to occupy a mall tent. Jae-wook's asthma causes his health to deteriorate daily. His inhaler breaks down. He dies slowly one night in front of his buddies after suffocating. Devastated are Sung Min and Tae Shik. On a neighboring beach, they bury their friend's body under the ground with heavy heart. Jae-wook's body likewise ceases like the others after death. 5 years go by, yet the world stays the same. The lads have lately turned into teenagers. Though they have been living in solitude for so many years, they still believe that eventually the world will return to normal. Sung Min thinks their time will restart when they become 20. To be rich when it happens, they pilfers a small amount of money from each person. Still, nothing changes even when they reach 20. They start to dwell in the wooden house in the forest and progressively get hopeless. One day, the solitude consumes Sung Min. He rants and pleads in a scenario right out of my COVID diaries, begging it all to end. Tae Shik loses all hope seeing this from a distance. Sung Min discovers that the form of the moon is shifting several days later, suggesting that the Earth is ready to veer back on track. He sets out hunting for Tae Shik, but comes nowhere. He looks for him all around the island, finally arriving at the last cliff. There he finds Tae Shik's clothing on the ground and notes his friend had jumped into the sea. As a last option, he also leaps after Tae Shik, but the globe starts again at that same time. Rising out of the sea, he finds great fascination in the flowing environment. After reading the journal, Soo Rin hurries to the wooden house at last, spotting her friend. Though they are not sure whether anyone will believe them, they choose to share the narrative with the world. CCTV footage shows the police Sung Min in the woods at the same time. They think he is the abductive agent. Sung Min visits Soo Rin's room at night seeking emotional support. Having lived alone for such a long period, he is afraid he will hurt himself in order to get over the suffering. Arriving at the building site the following day, Tae Shik's parents accuse Do Kyun of their child's disappearance. Soo Rin is creating stories to save her stepfather. They think the explosion in the site killed their son. Soo-rin and Sung-min visit the orphanage Sung-min utilized in meantime. Soo-rin comes outside to call Sung-min after explaining everything to the warden. But at that moment, her father drags her away. Sung-min tells his mother-like warden all he used to do as a child. Though she is startled, she still does not believe him. Hyun locks Soo-rin in her room at night. Sung-min frees her by entering via the back door. Running from the house together, they discuss what they ought to do next. Soo-rin recalls coming onto a second egg in the cave. She advises she uses the egg and goes back as an adult to show the others Sung-min is innocent. But Sung-min opposes the concept since he understands how challenging it is to live alone. He would sooner be called a kidnapper than let her experience what he went through in earlier years. After discovering a picture of his daughter and Sung-min on her phone, Hyun visits the wooden house realizing her daughter is missing. He visits there late at night, strikes Sung-min, and makes plans to bring Soo-rin home. Sung-min knocks him out, though, and leaves with her. The police check the wooden house the following day and discover the kidnapper is fooling Soo-rin into thinking he is Sung-min. The police shortly locate the two since the story of Soo-rin's disappearance is on TV. When Soo-rin turns herself in to save Sung-min, a pursuit starts between her and the cops. She tells him to meet her at the cave before splitting off. Detective On tells Soo-rin the kidnapper is lying to her, but she doesn't trust him. She runs to the cave, claiming to be wanting to use the restroom. She brings the brilliant egg out and presents it to Sung-min, but he declines to have it back to her since he wants her not to utilize it. He is about to own killing his pals and surrender himself in. As Soo-rin chases him, he bolts into the forest. Police show up at the same moment and start chasing them. They pause right at the brink of a cliff. As an officer takes Sung-min, he pushes Soo-rin off the edge. The investigator assists Soo-rin, but ends up dangling off the cliff alongside her. They both fall back before Sung-min can attempt to save them. Sung-min cracks the egg once more and pauses time to save them. A few seconds later, Soo-rin wakes up and finds herself on a beach with the detective. She understands the just actions Sung-min has done. For Sung-min, it must have been another decade even though it only marks a minute for her. She is then brought back home. She calls her father Dad for the first time and apologies to him for everything she has done while dinner is being eaten. The investigator comes to ask how they survived the fall. Soo-rin responds poorly, but he realizes she was speaking the truth all through. He advises her to fabricate a statement for the media stating the kidnapper had mistreated her. In this sense, it will be seen that those accusing her of killing her companions together with the abductor will be mistaken. At last, Soo-rin finishes sharing her story to the psychiatrist. Listening to it all leaves her flabbergasted, and she wants to publish a book about it. Soo-rin is relocating for high school to a distant city some months later. She visits the psychiatrist before departing and gets the book that has lately been released. Not so much for doctor-patient confidentiality. Soo-rin runs to meet Sung-min. She sees through her car window on her way to the ferry but finds no one. Still, the two cross paths on the deck some later. As they stare at one another, the film ends.